All right, who's first?
Dave, you said on Monday you wanted the players to practice and play like they lost this past Saturday. What have you seen this week in regards to that?
Yeah, I think they know where I'm coming from. Yeah, there's been an edge to them for sure. Obviously, the proof will be in our performance Saturday night, but we've had a good week.
Layman's, when they think about Miami, usually the first thing that comes to mind is athleticism. Have you noticed that in scouting them? Are they very athletic and fast?
Yeah, that's what you would think you would see. I think Mario's done a really nice job on the line of scrimmage. You can tell that his demeanor as a former offensive lineman is ingrained in this team. They're tough up front, both sides of the football. They play good football on the line of scrimmage. Always had good skill down there, and you got a quarterback that believes in himself, and it's a good football team we're playing.
I was trying to think when the last time you might have had a chip at a defensive end. I don't even know when that was, but is Ruben Bain at that point where you give him maybe a second blocker, just a little extra attention?
We've had to do it throughout the year for sure, and we will for him. He's a great player. Guy you like to watch, and obviously you wish he was on your sideline. But yeah, Louisville's defensive end was the same way, number 9. I thought he was one of those guys that you had to know where he was the whole game. And this league's got a lot of them. Clemson had 2 of them last week, that are proven defensive ends. So we have a couple too, so it's kind of nice. You're going to see 2 good defensive lines playing in this football game.
How much have you thought about the previous matchups against Miami?
Only that they've been one-possession games, I told the team that you need to be ready for a one-possession, 4-quarter game. That's what this game's been the last several times it's been played. Obviously, different coaches were on the sideline for some of those games, but, definitely bring that up to their attention that this is going to be a tough game. And a lot of ACC games are that way, I think when you get into the league, and you're seeing it now, every team, doesn't matter what the record is, they show up. They're well coached, the kids play hard. They were recruited to those schools for a reason.
There's another week at running back for Jordan Poole. Just how has he continued to acclimate to that position?
Yeah, he's getting used to the different things. Didn't give him as much the first week and a half he was in there, and Todd is adding to his plate. Not sure you'll be able to tell that on game day, but with practice he's now getting more reps of more things, and it'll just be a matter of time.
How do you feel Boris has done since the QB change? Where is his progress to this point?
Well, he's definitely playing comfortable back there. I think the game's not fast to him. He relates well with the guys on the field. He brings energy. He's confident. He throws a very catchable ball. Obviously, he's got through the cobwebs of the first couple, maybe the first quarter of the Marshall game. Is where you saw probably the worst things from him. And I thought he's settled in. And he's a good game manager too. He knows how to distribute the ball and just as you see, he doesn't turn the football over a ton, and that's an important part of winning.
I'm sure you've had different nicknames over the years. When fans affectionately call you Salty Dave, do you chuckle at that a little bit, or your friends and family?
Yeah, I've been called a lot worse than that, yeah. So, as long as it's not something with an F word in it, I'm pretty good with it. But yeah, I always laugh. My kids like that one.
So that might stick?
I don't know. You don't give yourself a nickname. That's just not one of those things you're allowed to do. If that's what they call me, that's what they call me.
Miami's offensive line is one of the best in the ACC at not allowing sacks. What makes them so good at keeping their quarterback clean like that?
Well, their ability to run the football is part of it. When you're not a one-dimensional front, it helps. Running the football is not going to allow sacks to happen, and they're committed to running the ball. Quarterback gets the ball out quick. It's the other part of it. And they're good in pass protection. It's a big group. They've got length and size, and their backs are part of that as well. They do a good job, and sometimes they're in max protections where it's just hard to get there.
There's obviously a perception of Miami with NIL. I'm sure you see it when you watch the film. You might wonder, but is that also kind of a signal to the rest of the ACC, like, this is what they're doing, this is what we need to be doing?
Yeah, I don't know. Is it a perception?
For Miami?
Yeah.
I think the national media is definitely put that perception on them.
So, I don't know. I have no idea what they're doing with that on their end, and they got a good team. They're well coached, if that's something you guys want to talk about. But for me, those are the players we're going to play against, and regardless if they have NIL or not. We got to go play against them and play well
Do you see special teams being really important this week?
every week.
Yeah.
Critical piece of the game. Critical. Yeah, I mean the kickers, the punters, the snappers, the returners. There's a lot of good ones in this game.
And how well has yours done this season? How happy are you with them?
Happy, yeah. I mean, I think we're top 3 in the ACC in every category. Top 5 in the country in a couple. But we're not done yet. You know, there's 4 games of work, and a lot of things can happen, good and bad. So, you know, the thing about special teams is it's the only part of the game that every snap of special teams is going to equal 40 yards or more in a field exchange, you know. Think about offense and defense. It's very rarely that there's a 40-yard gain or exchange on a play. It happens every time you kick the football. And so those are massive plays in the game, field position-wise, and there's a lot that goes into that. Coach Coble does a tremendous job with those guys.
I think I asked you this a third of the way in, now you're 2/3 of the way in. How much are you enjoying this team, the progression week by week?
Depends on what day you ask me that question, you know. It's November what?
Second.
Is it? It's crazy. It's already November. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's pieces of this that I've really enjoyed. There's pieces where I just wanted to, you know, do what I'm not allowed to do, you know, get physical with guys. And, yeah, and they drive you crazy and they make you happy. You know what I mean? It's 125 young men and you're trying to push them through some really tough things and enjoy some really good things with them. And so it's been a lot of growing pains. It's going to be a lot of good memories from it, you know, but every day's a new adventure in this job, man, every single day. And, you know, I'm fortunate to be able to be around it, you know. I mean, there's not a lot of guys that have the opportunity to be a Power 5 head coach and to be at school as long as I have. And now to be able to, I mean, all week we were pushing Peyton Wilson's name out there for all these awards he's on. Like, gosh, I mean, I've coached a long time. I haven't ever seen a guy play like that guy's playing right now. And I've seen some good football players. So it's cool to be a part of that ride with him right now, and thankful, you know, to have the opportunity to finish it with him.
Going off that, you know, how much, you know, have you been impressed with Casey's, you know, freshman
Yeah.
year and what he's been able to do, just leading the country in so many stats as a
Yeah,
freshman?
I actually texted him today, you know, I said, hey, man, you're doing a great job, let's finish, you know. Got your name on a lot of things because of how you're going about it. It's just one day at a time, one play at a time. Very proud of him, impressed and proud and hopeful, you know, that he can just keep true to the process that he's been doing and not read into the press clippings until the season's over.
Where do you think you've seen the most growth this season?
Great question. You know, I think our understanding as a team of the importance of complementary football. I think that you could have a conversation about our guys about that. They could give you a very philosophical answer about it, but I don't think they understood it and the value of it until we played in a couple games and played the way we did in a couple of games. And so that has hit home in a big way to this roster.
What game do you think that kind of clicked for the team to realize that how important it actually is?
Well, Duke was Notre Dame was where it first started. You know, there was a bunch of times in that game where we just did not play off of each other. And so that whole team meeting was about that. And I thought we started to get there. And then obviously there's been other failures, but Louisville was the other one, you know, where I really felt like we did not play complementary football. I know we didn't in that game. It really hurt us. And so the value of that has been entrenched and unfortunately branded, you know, through pain. And sometimes that's how you got to learn, you know. You got to walk on hot coals and get tougher.
We talked to Jaylen Scott yesterday, I think, about how he's starting to think a lot about how these are his last 2 home games.
Yeah.
And he's obviously been here a while. Just
Yeah.
what does it mean to you that he stuck around and he
Yeah.
waited for his opportunity?
It's a great story, you know, in today's world, not just football, just in general. You see it at the high school level now. Kids are picking up and transferring all the time, and it's sad. Like, parents are robbing young people of adversity. And, oh, it's okay, honey, let's do this. You know, that's too hard, and that's sad. And that's why we're soft country. And, you know, I'm proud of Jaylen. Really proud of him. Really proud of him, you know, because it wasn't easy. And he wasn't always great with it. Like, there was times where we had to get after him, you know, and he hung in there. And he's going to be a college graduate. He's playing really good football. And he changed the trajectory of his life because he hung in there, you know. So it's a great story, and I wish more people would allow that, you know, for their children. Allow them to fail. You know, failure's good. I mean, allow them to learn how to handle that adversity and overcome it.
You think Devon Betty was influenced in any way by seeing
Yeah.
seeing that path that
I think so, yeah. And, you know, the thing about Betty is, he, obviously you guys know Isaiah was such a tremendous leader, and I think he was soaking that in too. Like, he's a really mature guy. Like, you talk to Betty, like, he was enjoying learning from him, which I think some guys don't understand the big picture as well as Betty does. And so he definitely took that in. He had some tough days too, but definitely a guy that enjoyed the process of learning behind a great player, great leader.